in the early 90s, I really got into the Pogues music. And I think it might have been around the time, I don't know what time it was, but I remember going to see the Pogues play in LA. I was really excited. It was on that Summer of Siam tour. Um, and unfortunately, Shane wasn't there, but Joe Strummer stepped in to
Right,
sing.
right, yeah, yeah.
He worked on the record. And, you know, I got super drunk. I lost my mind. I was wearing this crucifix that I had gotten in Ireland. I, I grew up not knowing I had Irish relatives living, and so in the early '90s, I got to connect with them. And then I was wearing this crucifix, and during the show, like I looked down, and the body was gone, but the head was still connected to the string,
Oh,
right?
whoa.
I think there's something about that as sort of a symbolic gesture of like, you kind of you look you you lose yourself, right?
Hmm.
And most certainly Shane is such a beautiful writer, very romantic and traditional in some ways, but trapped inside of this punk rocker's body. And, the son of Irish immigrants trying to find out who he is and try to fit in and not fitting in and just kind of losing himself and enjoying the fact that people are just mortified of what he's doing and how he's treating himself and yet his voice is one of my favorite male vocals. I mean, I love his style of singing. It's because there's so much character there and so much emotion that can be squeezed out. And I really liked what he said too about not wanting to meet some of his idols. He didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
And I liked some of the things that he said, and I loved the music, and I loved that he was, trying to find himself through the Pogues, and going to this kind of traditional Irish way. And then at a certain point, it he needed to go deeper, and I think he struggled with trying to find a healthy way to do that. And
Hmm.
so he had to wrestle quite a few demons, and it's great that he came out the other side and found peace and love with his wife Victoria. I was really happy to see that, and had been following for a while and always wondering what happened to Shane, where's he at? And I knew certain people that were connected to the Irish music scene, so I could kind of like try to find out a scoop. And of course I would have loved to have met him, but I also didn't want to because I was afraid that it would be like just
Yeah.
not a pretty thing. But I really admired his work and his embracing sort of that Celtic tradition of songwriting, and especially the music,
Yeah.
has deeply influenced me. And I can give you examples on every single record of ours
Hmm.
where there is that relative minor use of chords.
Yeah.
Say for instance, you're in C major, you go to A minor, and that is me in a nutshell. That is so I really relate to those songs, and there are just I have so much profound uh, thanks and praise for what he's done, and I love his spirit too. I love being a freak, being a punk, and yet being himself, and embracing his roots, and yet trying to find deeper meaning in his life. That is all of us, and I like the way he unfurled his feathers. I love that, and just being really kind of traditionally romantic.
Yep. Yep.
Really, it's just beautiful. Um, During the pandemic, we were writing an album, not so much about Christmas, but sort of like winter and holidays, I guess. But we did embrace some songs. But I wrote a song that was really inspired by Shane's writing. It's called "Hear the Bells," and you can listen to it sometime. But
Yeah, sure.
I was kind of thinking about him and putting a character like him in Tucson through my eyes.
I heard the radio blaring a sad corrido. La tierra adesso suspiro por verte. Quisiera morir from this November's procession.
Yeah, and the fact that, like he's coming from this whole punk rock background too, I love that. I relate to him on a lot of different levels,
Right.
kind of him searching through folkloric music and world music, mostly of his own heritage, but also otherwise. I really identify with that.
Yeah.
And then it makes you question, like, well, why should he be doing this? Because he's a punk rocker. What does he know about this or that?
Yeah.
And I thoroughly appreciate all that he did in that regard, especially.
Take a breath to soothe your